The Cargyll twins were essentially props for the majority of House of Dragon's first season. Background characters filling in the slots of a series' 7 members of elite Kingsguard. But they have always been around. You can even spot them if you got a keen eye. They were wearing white armor even before Criston Cole was discovered. The Skilled brothers were appointed to the Sworn Brotherhood when they were 18 and have a deep relationship with most of the royal family. Celebrated fighters, but nothing too notable. And then, the big episode 9 hit, and they were thrown in our face with big dialogue roles. One risky change from the books the show writers decided to go with was making Erryk Cargyll Aegon's sworn shield before the Civil War. Oh, and I should try to be very clear when I enunciate the twins' names, because it can be hard to tell them apart, just like how hard the twins are to tell apart, even for their sworn brothers.
Your attention.
Whatever it is, Sir Arryk, you need to wait.
I'm Erryk, Your Grace.
Of course.
So this is how I've always remembered their names. Erryk with an A was Team Green, A for Aegon, and just like that, hopefully you'll never mix the names up. Erryk with an E was Team Black. Erryk being Aegon's sworn shield opens up a very tiny plot hole because in the source material he was actually Rhaenyra's. The twins served as Kingsguard but in different castles, since Rhaenyra lived in Dragonstone in her older years. When King Viserys would visit his favorite daughter across the sea, he would bring Erryk with an A with him so that he could reunite with his brother, I guess. That's how Erryk learned to navigate Dragonstone. He'd been visiting for years. In the show, he somehow convincingly knew how to navigate an ancient fortress. But in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter, right? It didn't take me out of the moment, because episode 2 was still a decent watch. A crazy amount of emotion in the air. From Rhaenyra, to King Aegon, to Helaena, to Criston Cole, and then the twins of course. A big moment in the Civil War. Erryk with an E, who was on Rhaenyra's team, won the fight as hard as it was to see. And he took his life, because wouldn't you after being forced to kill your identical twin? A real tragedy. The fight's choreography in the show wasn't jaw-dropping, but how are you supposed to cast twins who also happen to know how to sword fight? The emotion is what drove the scene. And the conversations they had in Season 1 Episode E built up this moment nicely. In that episode, Erryk with an E hoped his twin would leave King's Landing with him to join Rhaenyra, knowing Aegon is no man anyone would want to follow, considering his horrible nature and habits that he saw up and close. Erryk with an A is set on being a true Kingsguard member, however. No questions, just following orders. Whether it's from the king or their Lord Commander, as questionable as their demands will be. And I gotta say, Aegon is a shithead character, yes, but I know I'm not the only one blown away by this young king's character arc. Just like with King Viserys, the writers are nailing it, making them more complex in the lower books, but are dropping the ball with others. This really should have been Queen Helena's episode, and it almost seems like that was the direction this week was heading, but they just dedicate so little time for her. And this episode was the first time Prince Daeron Targaryen was ever mentioned. How insane is that? No doubt they contemplating cutting Aegon, Helaena, and Aemond's younger brother from the show. But now, with that one line from Otto Hightower, we have confirmation he's been serving his Green family in Old Town as a ward just like in the books. The Greens only have 4 dragon riders as of now, and they almost made it 3. This is just going to confuse so many viewers. And I'm sure they won't bother with trying to scrap together explanations on why he didn't visit when his father died, or now when his nephew died. This isn't a very big story to tell. Not sure what's going on behind the scenes, but they didn't bother planning ahead. Season 1 had some of these issues at a smaller scale, but so many easy home runs are being skipped over for the rest of the series. If it wasn't for Aegon's character development, this would be just some average television. You can't blame the budget when all these issues could have been mended with longer dialogue scenes for characters like Helaena, Cracken Stark, and Daeron Targaryen. Luckily, these things didn't mess up the Cargyll confrontation. The lore left us with a pretty clear idea of what happened within Dragonstone between the twins, but there were questions. From here on out, fans will probably look at this as the true telling, because we have perspectives from both twins as well as Criston Cole's orders, which up until now were a mystery. Here's what we knew. Sir Erryk did not undertake this mission happily. Indeed, Septon Eustace tells us. The troubled knight visited the Red Keep Sept on the night he was to sail to pray for forgiveness to our mother above. Yet as Kingsguard sworn to obey King and Commander, he had no choice in honor but to make his way to Dragonstone clad in the salt-stained garb of a simple fisherman. The true purpose of Sir Arryk's mission remains a matter for some contention. Grand Maester Munkin tells us that Cargyll had been commanded to slay Rhaenyra, putting an end to a rebellion at a stroke, while Mushroom insists that her sons were Cargyll's prey, that Aegon II wished to wash out the blood of his murdered son with that of his bastard nephews, Jacaerys and Joffrey Strong. Sir Erryk came ashore without hindrance, donning an armor and white cloak, and had no trouble getting entrance to the castle in the guise of his twin brother, just as Chris and Cole had planned. Deep in the heart of Dragonstone, however, as he was making his way to the royal apartments, the gods brought him face to face with Sir Erryk himself, who knew at once what his brother's presence meant. The singers tell that Sir Erryk said, "I love you, brother," as he unsheathed his blade, and that Erryk replied, "And I you, brother," as he drew his own. The twins battled for the best part of an hour, Grand Maester Munkin says. The clash of steel on steel woke half of the queen's core, but the onlookers could only stand by helplessly and watch, for no man there could tell which brother was which. In the end, Sir Erryk and Sir Erryk dealt each other mortal wounds and died in each other's arms, with tears upon their cheeks. And for years, that's just the story we went with. We have a new perspective from the new hand of the king's decision to send Erryk on a suicide mission. Seeing a soiled white cloak set him off. Erryk would never disobey, it's just against who he is, a robot that serves. Kristen had soiled his white cloak again and again. For some reason, we end the episode with him doing it again, just like last week. A popular song about the Cargylls is created in this world that romanticizes this knight's tale, making it out to be more beautiful than it really was, called Farewell, My Brother. And that's where their story ends. Each side of the Civil War down one Kingsguard member, because like everybody else, they had to pick sides. In times of war, the Kingsguard command armies and regularly fight on the front lines, changing the tides of battles. So a big hit to each side that will need to be filled sooner or later. So as soon as it's not spoiler territory, I should make vids on the Black's Queensguard and the Green's Kingsguard. Like last week, the big spectacle didn't mask the storytelling problems. Last week being Blood and Cheese, and this week, episode 2 being the Cargyll twins fight to the death. Let's see if they can make up for all the fumbles in the coming weeks. I'll see you guys soon with something else to talk about. Thanks for watching this one.